There we go. Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby, cool daddy Slick Breeze. Tonight, I have with me the amazing Eric Oakley. How are you doing, Eric?
What's good, man? Chilling.
Oh, chilling. Nice. We've got a lot to talk about. Robert McCall is not with us tonight. He's busy doing some stuff with
Boo.
his boo day job. So
Boo.
yeah, we'll cut him a little bit of slack this time, but we'll see what happens next time. But me and Eric Oakley are here to talk a little bit about some tournament talk. We're going to talk a little bit about some questions you have on Speak Pipe and to the Google form. Thank you for sending that in. And we have kind of a hot take. So I don't know, it's not as hot as you think, but we'll talk about it.
It's the real
And then
take.
of course, yeah, and then of course we're going to talk a little bit of infinite discs with Eric Oakley. I'm sure you've heard by now that Eric Oakley has signed a deal with Infinite Discs, and of course, super excited about all the possibilities. Um, yeah, well, do you want to just go ahead and jump into that, Eric?
Sure. Let's hit it.
Okay. So, like I said, if you're not, I'm sure you're following Eric Oakley, but just in case, kind of tell us kind of what transpired. You went on a little trip, and all of a sudden we announced things. So, what's going on there?
Yeah. So after after the shakeup, after leaving DD, I had a couple offers and opportunities, and Infinitus was kind of the leader of the pack of who I wanted to sign with, and kind of offer came in. We got excited. I said, "All right, cool. When can I come out there?" And that kind of excited them because then that realized that we can do a lot more in person, a lot more hands-on stuff. So I flew out there, picked out a bunch of this, got to really kind of embrace that and feel who they are and what they're trying to do as a company a little bit more, and got to meet a lot of the people who work there. And we did a couple videos, and it was just awesome. It was so much fun. I got to go see my family who are in Salt Lake City. They're about an hour and 45 minutes from Logan anyways. And I stayed with my buddy Joe up in Ogden. So I just had a nice little 45-minute jaunt up there. And it was just fun. I got to go play some courses that I haven't played in a long, long time, and test out some of the new discs. And it's always different throwing at elevation, but I was super impressed there. And ever since I've come back home, being able to rip on the discs, I am still monstrously impressed with some of the discs and just how good they are. Considering I haven't thrown much, you know, haven't thrown much outside of Trilogy for a lot of years now. So it's really really nice to see the other options that are out there. And yeah, just loving it. It's been amazing, and Infinite is amazing, and I'm stoked.
Well, yeah, of course, me and you've been talking about different things going on behind the scenes, stuff like that. So, yeah, super excited when finally got to announce all this. I want to know though, like as soon as the deal was inked and you knew in your mind, you're like, all right, possibilities open up, new discs. What were like three or four of the first ones you're like, I really want to get out and try this particular disc?
The Emperor was one. That was
Okay.
it's basically Infinite's destroyer like disc. And I had already heard from both Eagle and Calvin that it went farther than their farthest flying discs. And we're talking two
Wow.
dudes who absolutely pump. And I've watched Gigi throw him, but I wasn't sure if it was a destroyer or an emperor when he was ripping on it, or a wraith, because he just sends it and it goes farther than most people throw, anyways. So that was one that I was super excited to see what I could do with it, and it's actually really good for my arm speed. I'm able to hammer on it, get some really really effortless distance, which is amazing. Another one that I heard a lot about is the Castoplast Berg. Have you ever felt one of these
Mm-hmm. Yep.
bobbies? They're these
No, I
weird.
haven't, but I keep hearing. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's an amazing throwing putter. It's not like an approach disc. It's only a throwing putter. It's You can hit it as hard as you want. It goes the exact amount of distance it's going to fly and then drops out of the air. No skip, like nothing. Has very little hyzer, very little turn, and you can hit it hard and it just kind of goes dead straight. It's really really nice and offers some crazy versatility. Um, Another disc that I was kind of excited about on the mixed bag side was the Zone and the Buzz from Discraft. Those two discs are. I was always wanting to throw a Buzz and see what I could do with it, and I'm really loving it right now. It's got a little more integrity than I had in other mid ranges, and the zone is a disc that I didn't realize that I was missing out on, but I was using a felon or a justice to kind of work in that same slot. I never really liked the harp, but the zone is its own thing and it's fantastic. And then lastly, the alpaca. The alpaca is
Mm.
identical to a P2 that I used to throw a lot when I was with Discmania, and it was a disc that I loved throwing. I loved putting, and it really got me. It was probably one of the big discs that I like was searching for in the trilogy lineup and never really found, because the best part about the alpaca is that I can I can hit I can have a brand new alpaca and it'll be my overstable alpaca for throwing. And then I can have two other alpacas for different stages of wear and they all feel the same. And then as putters go, they feel amazing. And I can use some of even those beat up softer ones for approaches and longer putts, which is great. So the change never, the feel in my hand never changes when it comes to putting, and it works really well. And a couple of discs that were awesome that are not I didn't talk about is like I have a Chariot, which is very similar to the Buzz, and it offers a nice versatility. And it reminds me of the MD3s that I used to throw, and it's different because I could see myself ending up bagging both of them because the Buzz goes a little farther, the Chariot flies more like a traditional mid-range, and I could see myself doing like in between fairway shots is bumping up to that Buzz. When I want just really controlled and don't want the disc to get away from me, I can throw that Chariot. So who knows? Like I think that's the most fun part about all of this is that the bag is going to be really exciting, and I can have this diverse bag if I want to, even though I've talked about being a minimalist in my bags in the past, but this way I can do it a different way. And I think it offers a really, really cool versatility.
Now, okay, so yeah, I mean, immediately, I'm sure your mind went, "Oh my gosh, I can have so much to choose from." So, is that a little bit overwhelming to have so much freedom in what you can pick?
It can be. I don't think it is as much as I thought, because I already had
Okay,
a clear cut line of what I was going to be throwing. And
gotcha.
now it's about just trying out discs to see what they can do.
Yeah,
So I think that's just the
awesome.
fun part about all of this.
Well, one thing that I was really impressed with and super excited about, and already it just kind of talks about the partnership that's going on, is immediately you have Eric Oakley signature discs ready to go out on the Infinite Discs site, which is fantastic. To me, it's like yes, boom, they are ready to go, which is awesome. So tell us a little bit about the what discs they have available out there.
Right now, all you can get is Scepters. There was some Exodus, which is a T-Bird to Explorer evaded flying disc. Loving that as a fairway driver, by the way. The Scepter is like a Felon or a Firebird or a Raptor, if you will, and absolutely amazing. And it's money. I've been really jamming on one right now, and those are available. And then they had some Metal Flake Luster are called Concrete Emperors, and those are a little bit straighter and perfect for my forehand. I have a bunch of those at the ready, but they launched those. The Exodus and the Emperor sold out, so they put up some more, and the Scepters are definitely selling through, so they put some of those up as well, and was awesome. And I think that's the coolest part about this relationship with Infinite is if they have these cool discs and they have extra stock of blanks, we can run a special run and just do a couple hundred every once in a while just to provide some cool stamps and cool product for the fans. And then also I get a kickback. Infinite moves more product. So fans get something, I get something, Infinite gets something, everybody's winning. That's huge. Disc golf gets better when those things happen. So it works super, super well. But again, they were on it right when I got there to have a disc on release. And I couldn't thank everyone enough for just helping make that happen. And for anybody who's purchased one, thank you, thank you, thank you. Super, super cool. I feel incredibly valued, and it's this makes it all worth it.
That's awesome. Good stuff. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more come next year as you get
Oh
out
yeah,
there on the course and things like that. So guys, make sure you stay tuned to obviously follow Eric on his journey, and then stay tuned at infinitediscs.com. They already have a special little link I see here, Eric Oakley signature discs, that you can check those out. Very
go
cool.
get it, go
Also,
get it.
quick plug. If you go to discgolfanswerman.com, I have a little bit of inventory up of Disc Golf Answerman discs, nice stamped discs. We have some Warden, some Judge, EMAC Judges, and Keystone. I should have some more discs up there right now. So check them out. Helps support the show. Also, some Disc Golf Answerman well sacks as well. I've already sold one well sack and one disc. Woohoo! So appreciate you guys going out there and checking this stuff out. Okay, so let's do a little bit of tournament. Oh no, yeah, no, I want to come back to this because this is an important talking point about playing with a mixed bag. But
Sure.
first, let's do some Oakley tournament talk. What do we got going on as far as tournaments that happened over the weekend?
So we'll talk about the two main ones that I saw. They're both out of California. Sharktooth Open. Andrew Miranda, I think he's 16. I could be wrong. He's a,
Okay.
DD sponsored June a kid who took down the Open division, winning in the final nine, playing up against a lot of really good players, and there's Patrick Welk who had himself a weekend as well. Austin Hoop, Steve Rico, Lewis Spitney, Aiden Gerthy come to mind. Kyle Ekman's out there, Alex Lyon, Tommy Ekman. There's a lot of good players that were out there playing, and also in the Masters division. David Super Potato took down that division, playing some really quality golf. Andrew Miranda denied catch because I believe he's going to be going for a Junior Worlds title this upcoming season. So really cool to see somebody come out and just and shred. And then heading farther south in California, Sias Elmore edged out Clint Calvin and Mario Short and Nick Newton out at the SoCal Series Championship, and a little battle between Owen Scoggins and Holland Hanley, where Owen took it down. Holland just a handful behind, which is always great to see. It's just kind of cool to see the battles keep going, and it reminds me that disc golf can keep happening through this entire
Mm-hmm.
time.
Absolutely. Very cool. All right, let's get to some questions from our audience. First one's from Caleb. Hey, DeGam, this is a non-disc golf question here. Bobby, as a podcast host, do you look at any current podcast with high regard in the way they are able to interview a guest and entertain an audience? I'm thinking mostly of Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard as I write this question. What comes to your mind? What are you listening to these days? I have not listened to Armchair. I actually have my phone here, so we can actually look at the ones that I listen to. I am a big podcast listener. I mean, I think that makes sense, obviously, because I love to do this podcast. But the one I enjoy there's one called The Art of Manliness. And that's just like various topics that they discuss. Let's see, how to achieve cognitive dominance, a surprising theory on why we get fat, take back the weekend. Let's see, the surprising benefits of forgetting. So just kind of a whole different kind of question or things to talk about, topics. Another one is the quote of the day from Sean Croxton. That one's a really good one. Just every day has a motivational quote from somebody that he plays a little clip from somebody that's in the motivational space, and I just love hearing that. And then Order of Man, another one is like how to be a man. I want to be a man, Eric. So that's a really good one to check out. But yeah, and then I want a podcast or a disc golf one that I really like is Brian Earhart. That dude is so good. I even when
Brian's
I
a
saw
man.
him one time. Yeah, when I saw him one time, I complimented him because I'm like, dude, I love the way you talk, the way you draw stuff out of people, and the questions that you ask and the stories you draw from them. I think it's so cool. So if you're not listening to that one, definitely check that one out. I'll have to check out the Armchair one to see what that one's all about. All right, next question comes from. Let's go to. Oh, Sam just wants to know, name one of your favorite places that you've traveled to.
Man, Finland is like everywhere in Finland was amazing. But if I had to say something that's a little more attainable for most is Burlington, Vermont, and Smuggler's Notch in particular. Up there in Vermont, it's just going there in the fall. It's dope. The disc golf is just so good. Both of those courses are just awesome. And yeah, it has to be. It has to be. Yeah, Vermont.
Yeah, I mean that place was that place was fantastic. I really loved being out there. I got to say, just because of the opportunity to be able to travel all the way to Sweden. I mean, that was fantastic to
Yeah.
go do that. And then what was the big event that was out there that we went to that was that was played at Yarva? Was it
Oh,
European match?
European Masters.
Yeah, got to go out there for that. And that was awesome. That was a great time. All right, let's jump over to Jacob's question. He says, "So we know that getting to the next level takes practice, but no one ever really talks about practice routines. They don't. We talk about it sometimes. Anyway, I
Talk
feel
about
like
practice?
yeah, I feel like I'm just going out in the field and throwing instead of having a structure that gets me results and consistency. Any advice or input or training regiments?
Hmm.
For reference, I max out at 450, but not controlled. Practice 5 days a week with 1 to 1.5 hours per session. That includes 100 putts.
Nice. Dude,
So,
I
do
mean,
you have a
you're on your
certain
way.
like routine?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So field work wise, I really try and focus on like one type of shot sometimes. And if it's not one type of shot, it's landing a disc in a specific spot. So um, if choosing maybe on when you're throwing outwards, doesn't matter where, you're just trying to hit good clean lines and keep the disc straight, or trying to get the disc to do what it does. But when you're throwing back, is trying to put your disc near your bag, unless you have unless you actually have a bag itself. The other part that I think comes into your practice routines is you know making sure you're not doing too much, because it's really easy to just go and rip as far as you can, like you're kind of talking about. But again, if you're just focusing on hyzers, throw all your disc and get them clean releases on hyzers, and that is a really important thought. Flex shots, if you're really working on it, maybe you take some of the understable stuff out and you put in force over flexes, and you put a bunch of overstable stuff, because you need to work on that type of shot, because you see it being a weakness in your game. I think that's where you can get a lot out of it. And there are times where I will just take my putters and mid ranges out to just do some field work. If I feel like my form is getting off, I will just go and take putters and mids, and I'll throw them straight, or for whatever shape that mold does best. I will just throw them good, because I'm trying to get that clean release. I'm trying to build my form back up. So then, and then shortly after that, if I'm still having issues, I'm feeling better about it, I might bump up and bring some fairways to make sure things are coming out clean before I bump up to the distance drivers. So that's one thing you can always do, is if you need to, if you feel like you're not making progress, you can drop down to your slow speeds and really rip on those and get those clean lines.
Let me ask you this. So that's good practice for the physical part, the throwing and everything like that. Is there
Mm-hmm.
anything you do that's intentional for the mental side?
More preparation, I guess, would be is like watching videos of the courses we're going to play, and
Mm,
I tend to play courses that have a lot of videos being
yeah.
talked about, or being played. And if you can't, maybe having an idea, because you have played there, take notes of what you think you're going to throw until you can go and practice and visualize yourself playing those holes. You don't want to do it too much, because you can mentally drain your energy by mentally playing the course in your head. Because if you play it 100
Mm.
times before you step onto the course, you're on your 101st round at that course. So there's a level of it that you can use, and use it to where you're at least giving yourself that amount of freedom and recovery. So I do, yeah, I do think there's a little bit of that. And honestly, make sure you're in a good mental space. Just bringing yourself positivity when things are going wrong. Like I've had a couple mornings where I've woken up, spilt my coffee. Oh, something on my bag broke. Oh, I dropped this, and like I'm just like, it's gonna be one of those days.
One of them
And
days, yeah.
then you feel like it's going to happen on the course, but it really doesn't matter, because the moment you're out there, just being ready to absorb the positivity, trust in yourself, trust in your stuff, and just go send the disc. It'll be just fine.
Now, when you're doing that type of prep work, watching past events,
Mhm.
is there one in particular that you're like, I like the choices he makes, and so I kind of pay more attention to that particular player?
I feel like Sexton's always a golfer that you can read off of. If you see him on coverage, he didn't play much last year, so you won't see him as much. But he's the type of golfer, he throws the highest percentage shot, and he throws the best shot for him. He's not necessarily, the best distance thrower. He's not necessarily the best putter. He's not, he's one of the best forehand throwers, but he sticks to his strengths so often, and he doesn't do anything, over the top, which helps him stay within his game, where you never see him, reaching for a shot or reaching to try and make something happen. He just plays and allows the game to kind of happen and be easy for him. So that's something that I really take a lot of knowledge from. And man, I let's be real. If you're talking about any of the guys who had their hot tournaments, Eagle, Adam Hammis, Paul Macbeth, those guys, when they had it, it was so fun to watch, because they were really really difficult to beat, and they just shred. And they have all three of those players, amazing backhands, amazing forehands, fantastic putters. It's like they just put it all together. So I think that's the coolest part, when you get to really see all that happen. And it's it can be a, to touch back on to, field work. You can start to see the shots that they're throwing and work that into your regiment of shots you need to be throwing as well. I'm missing this mid flip up, so I really want to work on that and drive my mids and really work on that flip up to only holding straight, no turn type of disc. So that helps you try and figure those types of shots out and how to throw those types of shots. So yeah, that's one thing that I try and play into. But yeah, not anyone outrageously in particular, but I think I'm in that place now where I love disc golf so much that I'm just absorbing the content more than I used to, where uh I don't know, it's easy to fall out of that. But just remember why you're going to practice, and remember why you're
Yeah.
trying to play these tournaments, is that it's fun, it's enjoyable, and you're getting better with every throw.
All right, we're gonna jump over to Speak Pipe. We got this one from Tony. Let's see what Tony has to say.
And
Tony.
I've been
Whoa,
throwing
go
with
back.
mostly a flat
Whoa,
release.
go
My
back.
name's Tony,
Whoa.
and my name's
Tony, shut
and
up,
I've been playing
Tony.
for about 6 months, and I've been
Hey, Tony, Tony,
Don't
calm down,
calm
Tony,
down, Tony.
Tony.
He's
Okay, there we
getting
go. Here
ahead
we
of
go.
himself, Tony.
We're back with Tony.
Hi, my name's Tony, and I've been playing for about 6 months, and I've been throwing with mostly a flat release and changing to different molds to get the shot shapes that I need. But as I develop more power, I'm noticing that my stable mids, like my Fusion EMAC Truth, frequently will go dead straight or even sometimes finish right slightly. I don't think that I'm overpowering the discs because I'm only throwing them about 225 to 250. So I think the problem's with my release angle. Then I noticed in Physics of Flight 501 at about 12 minutes 32 seconds, Danny said that a flat release was more inconsistent than a hyzer release. Why is that? Can you point me to some other resources that better explain that? Right now, my form's still malleable, so would it be wise for me to kind of default to throwing on a slight hyzer whenever the shot shape allows rather than flat, or should I stick to what I've been doing? Great. Thanks. Appreciate your answer.
What do you
Tony,
got for him?
this is a great question, because uh, I think what you can realize is that you can change your throw and your motion and what you're doing to pull through without actually changing much. You can legitimately have your shoulders come farther forward, so you're like leaning over or bending at your hips, whichever you feel it makes more sense to you. Bending at your hips, and you will go from a flat release, bend at your hips. Now you have the disc on a hyzer release, and now all you have to do is pull through the same way, and you're gonna be releasing on that hyzer. So your mechanics kind of stay the same outside of just that one shift in your shoulders or in the bending at your hips. So that's one thing that I would consider. I don't necessarily know the science behind the why a flat release is more inconsistent. That's not my. I'm not paid to do that. I'm paid to just go throw them well. But what I think you can do is work with the different angles. You will be super surprised at how much more you can do uh, with those different angles. and what discs do whenever you play a disc super understable on a lot of hyzer, watching it stand up and then maybe peel late and then come back, and you don't realize how useful that shot will be, or vice versa, a super overstable disc thrown on anhyzer and watching it kind of pull itself and do a lot of different shot shapes. Because sticking to one release is good as you start to learn, but as you get better, being able to adjust and throw the different releases on the fly is going to be really, really important for you, because there are going to be plenty of times where you have to release like an approach on anhyzer to go around something and work back towards the basket. And if you have a flat release, you're really playing on the disc and you might not be able to work it as much. So getting comfortable with that, I think, will be good. But keep playing and keep throwing. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you're currently doing, but as you continue to get better, add those angles, and you'll see your game go a little bit farther, and maybe you'll have more fun with it too.
All right, so jumping back to the topic of you moving over to infinite discs.
Yeah.
I know I saw a lot on social media and seeing now on the YouTube, the comments now is about your bag. But first, specifically, any hints as to what actual bag you're going to be using to carry your discs? Can you even talk about that, or?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm kind of lined up with trying to pick between two companies, and I think I am leaning in one direction because both are amazing opportunities. They are they're just wanting to do great things for the sport of disc golf. So it's like I can't lose here. I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing for me in the end. So that news probably will be maybe just after the holiday, or maybe this week. Who knows? Whenever I do announce that. So lots of really cool things going on there. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of just excited I have a little starter bag, infinite bag. So I'm ready to kind of have a bag that I can just load up with discs and go to the field and just go rip. So I think that's more what I'm most excited about when it comes to the new bag option. And
Nice.
yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, so back in the day, the big thing I would see a lot is people would say, throw what you know. And I would always tell that to when I was working for Dynamic Discs and doing the podcast. I would say, throw what we're going to talk Dynamic Discs because they support the show, but throw what you know, throw what feels good to you, right? And so a lot of people would talk about the whole mixed bag. I don't know that it's a theory, or a lot of people would say they play better because they can throw mixed bags. So that's kind of the topic that's been coming up when I've seen on social media is like, wow, now Eric can pick any disc he wants. And of course you get everything from all the whole spectrum to he'll stick with trilogy discs. So that's what he's used to. No, he'll venture out because he has so many choices now. What is it about, or what is your mindset going into this now that within Trilogy, you had quite a few discs and molds to choose from, but even with all that, there is still tiny little slots here and there that maybe either were missing based on someone's game and what they like to throw. So, but kind of tell us what your mindset is going into knowing that you can choose from any manufacturer.
I think the best part is that I legit have no hole in my bag. I can't. It is legitimately impossible for me to have a hole in my bag. So that is amazing. The other part is that I can think about holes and courses that I'm going to play this year, and I can map it out of, oh, if I had this type of disc, I could attack this hole better. Now I can. And I can grab some of those and get ready to understand how those actually fly for me and really attack it. Because I have seen so many different players play on tour with a bunch of different plastic, with a bunch of different brands, that I've seen people do exceptional things with these discs often. And now I can try some of those discs and see if they do similar things for me. So that's a really, really great option to have. And, I was talking a little bit about the Castblast Berg. Is I might not throw a Berg for 2 tournaments, but when I need it, it's going to be one of the best discs I could possibly throw for a couple shots. That it's really nice to just have that in the bag and at the ready. So I used to be a smaller finite amount of discs. So you might see me have a bulkier bag, which my back is going to hate me for, but whatever. I'll ruck it and we'll get after it. But it's going to be worth it because no matter what, I'll have the discs for the shot. And I think that you'll see me have maybe 4 or 5 more utility discs, and then I'll have my main staples with these, five or so utility discs that you might not see me throw often, but when I throw them, oh man, it's going to be the perfect disc. So I think that that's going to be more where my bag goes, and why I'm so excited about the mixed bag, and why I think it's a good thing is, again, I could see, oh, I'm going to be at like the woods and or De La Viega or something like this. So you see me, I bag 2 or 3 extra like flippy mids and flippy fairways for these techie wood shots. But then when I go out in the open, those don't make the bag, and I got a couple extra overstaple discs in the bag. So my bag will be more flexible in that regard. Is that it's not going to be the same stock discs going to this tournament, going to that tournament, going to this tournament. It's just going to have these ins and outs of different discs, which I'm really excited about.
So, I mean, we've talked before, and I've talked to other players. Do they adjust their bags based on the tournament, based on the course, and then some depending on the wind and the weather and conditions like that. There's a little bit of a change, but now that your options are even more, do you think that'll happen to where literally you'll have a different bag that you play Las Vegas Challenge than what you play in Vermont?
I definitely think that those 2 bags, like I could see, let's use Vermont as a prime example. Fox Run and Brewster are 2 very different courses. Very wooded at Brewster, pretty open at Fox Run, where I could see having a bag for both, where some discs that are interchanged between the 2, but a lot of different options to make sure that I know that I have the techie wood stuff for Brewster, but I got the open bomber stuff that I can rely on for Fox. And I think that'll give me a lot more confidence, knowing that I have that switch where, not to say that I didn't have that at Trilogy, but it just wasn't the same because my options are a lot bigger, and I can have just specific discs for specific holes a little bit more. So I think that's
and I'm assuming that obviously kind of will help with, in a sense, in your confidence level, because you have just that little bit more confidence in what you just picked to throw a shot.
100%. I'm trying to force something to work rather than this will work for that shot. I think is definitely something that can happen.
All right, let's jump back into the questions. This one is from. Let's jump over to Andrew, who says Nietzsche.
Nietzsche.
He's talking about when I was last time when I was confused on, do you say Nietzsche or Nietzsche? Anyway, he says sanction or situation. This is a sanction round. He just threw, or the situation is just threw 3 bad forehands in a row, but the backhand has been steady. So, is it time to change the game plan to backhand only for the remainder of the round, or do you chalk it up to natural variance and trust your forehand to perform? What factors push you one way or the other? That's an interesting question.
Great. If something is working, I it's more specific discs for me than it is a specific shot type, because with what you've practiced, you maybe didn't practice a backhand on certain holes, and it calls for a forehand, and now you might be asking more of yourself, and the dangers might be heavier on the backhand, where the forehand's still pretty attainable. And when that happens, I don't try and throw this specific shot. I just focus on hitting one good thing that will make the shot good. Not great, not amazing, good. So if I'm having issues with the forehand and I'm walking up and I have a forehand hole where it's an easy left to right moving hole, I will say I am trying to hit the gap. All I want, the gap is what I'm doing. I don't care if it parks the basket or leaves me a 50-footer. I'm hitting the gap with my forehand. Even if I turn it over and it still ends up being a bad forehand, did I hit the gap? That's good. I'm going to get my par. I'm going to move on because I hit the gap. That's what I focus on for the next shot that I have to throw of that, to help get the confidence back, because you know what? I still hit the gap. That was big. Now I just need to work on. I need to not throw it as hard this time, and then I can work on that because I know if I'm going to hit the gap, now I can adjust the power levels and bring it back in, so you don't end up putting yourself in a bad spot where you're forced to throw a shot that maybe you didn't practice. So I don't like to swing off of what I've practiced, even if it's not working, because the amount of good backhands and the amount of good forehands that I've thrown outweigh the amount of bad forehands and backhands that I've thrown at this point. So though it's just I think it's just that, it's just random, man. Sometimes it sucks. It's gonna be good, and if you trust in that, it'll pay off a lot longer. Pay off a lot longer in the long run.
Okay. A couple questions from the YouTube. Eric, I know you seemed hyped about the West Side Bear. Do you think you'll give it a try still?
I don't think so. I have in the fairway slot. I'm excited to try the Discmania CD2 again. That's one that I was really loving when I was back with them. I have the Discraft Onyx. I got the Exodus. I got the Scepter. I got the Centurion. So I got a lot of discs that are kind of flying in that same, in a similar realm to what that might cover. But the Bear is a very good disc, and you guys should be hyped and look to support that. It's super awesome.
Nice. All right, we've got a hot take about forehand throws, but before we do that, we're going to do our next speak pipe question. Let me do the right settings here. And this one is from Anonymous.
Hey, Bobby. This is Frank de Vries from Groningen.
De Vries.
So I got a question about payouts. Seeing that the DGPT payouts are getting bigger and bigger by the year, are we in Europe falling behind? Are we falling behind in payouts to get players from the States over here? The European Open last year, that is a major. First place prize was $1,800. Is that keeping players from the States at home, thinking it's not worth the trip coming over here? What are your guys' opinion about this? Thanks a lot and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, Frank de Vries. De Vries. Now I hope I want to say it like that all the time. Hopefully I can remember de Vries. De Vries. Anyway, I mean that's obviously I'm not a professional player, so it doesn't affect me. When I would travel overseas, it was obviously all paid for. But I know that that's a sentiment that I hear about. I've seen on other shows, and I've actually talked to players that, yes, sometimes it makes it hard to justify spending all that money when there's not the return. So, yeah, I mean, is that kind of a sentiment that you hear as well, Eric?
Well, considering last year, actually, let me look up, but last year we could not even go over. So I don't think it actually kept its major status. And so that affected the amount of money that they needed to bring in for that event. But if you look back at the last time the European Open was a major, payout was $6,000 for first, $6,200 to Paul Macbeth. Eagle McMahon, $4,200 for second. I think as a major title, UC and his crew, Yuka and everybody over there does an amazing job of making sure the European Open meets that standard. When the Norway DGPT, I'd assume that they would have met these same standards for the DGPT and had similar on the payouts, because that's the only way they would have accepted them as a DGPT event. So maybe we'll see less. And I think another part that happens here is that we don't see as much of the Americans going over is because the schedule doesn't work for us to be in Europe for that long to play more events. Considering how it works now, I believe it's going to be, let me double check, but I think it's Idlewild. It is Idlewild. Yes. Idlewild, week off to travel to Europe, European Open, and then the following weekend after European Open, Deglow in Michigan. So we go from Burlington, Kentucky, Cincinnati area, probably drive to Chicago, fly out of Chicago, do all the European stuff. You might get a tournament in, you might not. If you really want to push for it, you can. I'd suggest don't go visit, enjoy Europe, maybe run an event that if you can help it, make it happen. Do that. Then go to European Open, make sure you get quality practice there because it is a major and you want to be fully dialed in by the time you get there. Play European Open, and then you can fly home and hoof it at the toboggan and, you know, live on that jet lag. But so I think those are some aspects of why people aren't going to Europe at the current state of things because it just doesn't work in the schedule.
Yeah.
You know, if we had, say it was we could get 2 tournaments in, or like it was in the past where they had 2 majors and, you know, consecutive weekends or close to each other over in Europe with European Masters and the European Open, that opens the door to a lot more possibilities of us being maybe in Europe for a month in future seasons, which I do see being an option for something going forward. I could see Worlds in Europe in the future. I know that's something that UC Maresma wants to see make happen, and maybe that we're coming close to that because yes, you're going to lose out on a lot of the American players to not be able to play Worlds, but at the same time, we lose out on a lot of European players who don't get to play Worlds every single year. And if they're going to bid for it and they're going to run a top quality event, why would we hold them back? And why wouldn't we do that? Now it's on the PDGA and who they approve. And I absolutely think they should approve a European Worlds. I don't think that there's any reason for us not to. I know it's hard, but if you're a true professional and you're trying to, you know, compete at the world stage, you will be at the World Championships no matter where it is.
I agree.
That was Tina for our audio listeners. She was walking by Eric. Cool. All right, let's touch base on our YouTube watchers real quick. By the way, if you're watching YouTube and you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button.
We need
notification bell. We need them. We're giving away a Combat Ranger bag once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So the quicker you can get your friends to subscribe, the quicker we can give that out.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kristen says, "Can y'all give a shout out to my son Adrian and to my daughter Noelle?"
What's up, Adrian? What's up, Noelle?
What up? Jacob wants to know what's your typical practice breakdown weekly. You kind of talked about that earlier, right?
Yeah, the weekly stuff is interesting, especially off season wise. It's going to be very different. Where the plan will be once December starts, and all this kind of slows down, is early morning run, workout, and then putting and field work or going to play around. So I won't do too much, and maybe some putting in the evening. So making sure I'm getting good quality putting in, whether that's, you know, couple 15-minute segments or one long 30 to 40-minute segment of putting. So kind of sticking to that. I have the luxury where I don't have a 9-to-5 and I can do that every single day. So that works. But if I was working a 9-to-5, I would try and get up early, get 30 to 45 minutes of field work or putting, go do it, go to work, and then right after work, go and get as much as I can in before the sun goes down, or even go on lunch break if you can pack a lunch. So those are some things that I really focus on. I know somebody was asking a little bit earlier about some alpacas, and if Reagan Van Camp is still hanging around, cool alpacas coming. Maybe not in the places you're looking for, but definitely something on the horizon. So
nice. Someone says, Bobby, what disc are you excited to throw in bag now that you aren't connected with DD? Honestly, let's see. I'm trying to think back. I used to really like the Avenger SS. Do they still make that?
Yeah. I actually need to grab some of those. That reminds me. I need to grab some of those. I want to try them for rollers.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, dude.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's what?
I know, my little weak arm. You need to. I'm going to use his rollers. Because you don't. Because
whatever. What's your favorite? What's your favorite disc again? Oh yeah, it's Understable. Cool.
That I remember. I remember liking that, and I remember loving the Comet. Oh, I used to love the Comet. I don't know why. Of course, that's the thing though. It's been years, so maybe the Avenger S would be. Maybe I've outgrown it. I don't know. I have to see. I have to see a bunch of discs. Interesting though. We talked about it on an episode a while back. Was a nuke. Someone found a nuke from years ago, like years ago.
Yeah.
I might as well get out and try to throw that. See what it's all about.
Yeah,
So
I gotta get you some of this stuff too. I got plenty of stuff that we'll send over, and we'll get Infinite to get you a little care package so you can jam on.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Bobby Heiser's his Avengers. Chaser says throw a paradox. What's a paradox?
I think it's an MVP mold. It might be on the flippy side.
John says, do you look to disc down or try to shape a longer disc in the woods tight lines? Do you look to disc down or try to shape a longer disc in the woods or tight lines?
Do I look to disc down or shape longer discs on tight lines? Man, I tend to disc down when I go into the woods. I can get by with my fairway drivers. I just feel like it's the release and the timing is a lot easier. It's actually where I'm really liking the Onyx in that kind of hybrid driver slot. It's a 10 speed. It functions really well. It's good low power. It's good heavy power. But it goes distance driver distance when you hit it hard, unless you're in a big open field and can rip a distance driver. So that is, if I need a little more speed, I like that in the woods. Yeah, I think I tend to lean on disking down. Now, do I think that that's what everybody should do? No. If you have really good timing with your high speeds, jam on those things, because there are times where you need to be able to hit that high speed disc. And I can see myself, especially with how I'm feeling about the Emperors right now, I could see myself maybe even being a little bit greasy when I go into the woods and hitting some higher speed stuff and really just sending it and see what can happen.
Just send it.
Send
All
it.
Let's do our hot take real quick before we wrap up the show. This one's from Chris from Atlanta.
Let's go.
He says, this is a hot take, and this hot take comes in two levels: mild for amiable discussion and spicy for maximum argument potential. Here we go. Mild. When looking to add a forehand to their game, players should be throwing understable discs, not overstable ones. Understable discs will teach you good technique and touch instead of masking your flaws. Mm-hmm. Plus, touch is usually more important for anything other than a massive power forehand tee shot. Spicy. Or you want to do that? You want to take on that first, or?
Yeah, let's hit it, because it's the way I teach people to throw forehands, is that you can do a lot more with understable than you can with overstable. You can make a disc fly the same as an overstable disc if you control the angles and match the speed with, you don't even have to throw it as hard and you get the similar distance. So that's absolutely right. Now, anybody who's first picking up the game can throw an overstable forehand forced over, and it flexes out and it goes farther than anything else they can throw, because it doesn't take much to do that. So if that's the only forehand you have, you need to go practice. You need to go work at it, because you have a one-dimensional forehand and you're going to
You're one-dimensional.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm keeping it real. I learned from you.
So why do you think it is? Is it an ego thing that people don't get understable discs?
Dude, how many times have you heard somebody say, and again, I'm going to offend plenty of people when they listen to this, is that, that disc is just not overstable enough for my forehand. I just, I can't throw those because it just doesn't work for my forehand. No, your forehand doesn't do enough for you. That's why you're having issues. And that's why you can't find discs. Yes, the OptoX Stiletto or Monster or Firebird or whatever you're throwing, tilts are just not overstable enough for me. It's like, no, that's when you have the problem and you need to work at it, because when it comes down to it, you can't have a one-dimensional forehand, because the moment you get put in a situation where you have to hit a tight gap with touch and control the speed, you can't do it. You can't do it. Yeah. And most of those forehands move a lot laterally. Those forehands have a lot of swing left and then a lot of swing right for a right-handed forehand player. So there's, more often than not, when you're in the woods, there's trees on the left and there's trees on the right. So if you didn't hit the trees on the left, you're going to hit the trees on the right. So being able to control a disc, from a hyzer flip is one of the more beneficial beneficial discs. And that's a great point in the chat, Reese Powell. That's not a forehand disc. I love hearing that, because whenever I talk about the Claymore in my bag, I talk about it as like, this is one of the best forehand discs I've ever thrown. And people are like, you forehand a Claymore? And it's like, yes, it's so controllable. It's got great torque resistance. It just handles. I put a little slight hyzer on it and it goes dead straight. It gets me out of so much trouble. The Claymore, over my time with Trilogy Plastic, I think the Claymore saved me as much as the Justice did. And we're talking about two totally different discs. Those discs saved me more strokes than most discs in my bag. And now I learned to throw both of them. And now I'm not saying you shouldn't have that force over forehand, because it is important to have. But if you want to actually elevate your game, you need to learn with that understable stuff. And, when it calls for it, use that force over. If you don't need to think about it, throw that force over all day. Get your birdie, move on. But if you're in a spot where the force over could get you in trouble, learn to control that thing, man. Put it under the basket with some nice touch and let it sit nicely. That's when you're cooking with fire at that point. Cooking with gas.
Love it. Love it. All right, let's see if it's spicy. Hot take is spicy. If you only throw forehands with Firebirds, Felons, Destroyers, etc. in a big flex line, you can't actually throw forehands well. You don't have too much power and snap for other discs. You're just bad at throwing forehands. You have a technique problem, not a disc problem. That's kind of what you were describing.
My boy, he knows. He's got it. We feeling it.
So it's not really a hot. It's a hot take in the sense that
people
don't follow this. Right, people don't follow this thinking. Why? Yeah. Again, is it an ego thing or is it an ignorance thing? They just don't know. That's just the way they see people do it, so that's what they do.
I think it's a little bit of both, because what happens a lot is when you look at a pro's bag, it tends to lean more on the stable to overstable side. Almost all discs. There's very few understable stuff, and you don't really hear somebody talking about like a Leopard being this nice, controlly understable disc that they throw, right? They talk about the Firebird for their forehand. They talk about whatever, a Raptor for their forehand. They talk about, Zeus for their forehand. And those are on the overstable side. So I think that's why, is that they see the pros do it, so they think they should do it. But most of those pros who are saying that can forehand an Avenger SS, can forehand a Leopard, can forehand these flippy discs that are in their bag when they need to. Most players can, and if they can't, they've figured something else out for those shots whenever they run into those situations. So it's again, you need to diversify your game. You need to be able to challenge yourself to take every single disc in your bag, throwing it on hyzer, like a lot of hyzer, a little bit of hyzer, flat, a little bit of anhyzer, tons of anhyzer, and see what they do. You need to be able to trust your disc from every possible angle, overhands, like Scoobies, whatever. Because the moment you do that, now you're not going to be in a situation where you feel handcuffed. You're able to throw something to make something happen. And if that something is just pitching out to lay up to throw a better shot from the next spot, awesome, that's great. But you feel ready for whatever shot that comes your way. And that, I think, is the most important thing to take from all of this, is, be able to adjust and make those things happen.
All right, so not so much a hot take on these, just kind of facts, but good stuff to talk about and good stuff for people to learn.
Pointing out people's flaws. I love it. Also, different, news type of thing. PDGA announced Jeff Jacquois, the tournament director of the Las Vegas Challenge, that he is now the director of competition, and he's going to be overseeing. He's going to be overseeing a lot of the majors and potential future PDGA events, which I think is a great call. I have my issues with Jeff, if we're being real. I do not love that the Las Vegas Challenge has continued to be 3 courses over 4 days. I understand he's trying to fit more people in, and he's doing it for more of his club and doing those things. It's still a very well-run tournament. It's very professional. So when it comes down to it, he runs a great event. I just have one qualm. stop playing 3 courses and stop playing triple islands, but whatever. And he's heard plenty of it, and the more I say it, it doesn't matter, because what I've realized is that I'm going to keep showing up to Las Vegas. I enjoy it. It's a great practice. It's a great warm up for the year, and I know that the event is good, so it's hard to pass on that. So hopefully what we can see with Jeff taking over this position is that anything that has been taken that is under the PDJ's umbrella going forward, some of the Masters events, US Women's, different things like that, that he's, pushing the events to a higher level, and the Pro Tour being involved as much as they are, that also pushes it to another level as well. So that cohesive unit will likely create a far better standard for what we expect from every single event. So when we go to these majors, we can expect them to be Disc Golf Pro Tours or better, because they're majors, and we know that that's something that we can all be excited about. So I think that that's fantastic to see, and I'm hyped for him. And if you ever listen to this podcast, please have the pros play two courses at Las Vegas. Thanks, appreciate it.
I appreciate out. Peace. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for joining us on this episode. That's all the time we have for this particular episode. We went through all the questions and everything. So yeah.
Got it.
So what is on your agenda for this week? What can we look forward to on your social medias, or what you got going on?
Tons of stuff. So we have the 24-hour charity stream starting this Friday. It's Black Friday. On Friday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going live. We are doing a 24-hour charity stream for Team Seas. If you haven't heard about Team Seas, they are trying to clean up 30 million pounds of plastic out of the ocean and from beaches. And they have a great initiative. It's fantastic. It hits home for Tina and I, being that we love, being in Florida, huge. And the fact that, we whale sacks and all these things. So it fits very closely into what we're doing. It's amazing. So every $1 that we raise it's 1 pound of plastic out of the ocean or from the beaches. It's super cool. So tune into that. We have thousands of dollars in giveaways at that stream, and our goal is to raise $5,000. We're really hoping we can hit that number and maybe go beyond, which would be fantastic. We love any and all support. Again, Infinite Disc, I think, put a $20 coupon on every single hour. On top of, we have so many others who are donating product and opportunity and all these cool things to each hour. So every single hour, there's a giveaway. Even at 3:00 in the morning, we're giving away something. So please come in, tune in, tell your friends to donate. It'll be awesome. Morning coffee tomorrow. I'll be Twitch streaming just to do my normal World of Warcraft stuff. So make sure you guys follow us there. I think I'm going to start my Building the Bag series here soon, which is something that I am doing with moving to Infinite, is a Building the Bag series where I talk about putters. I talk about, putters on, or approach discs, mid-ranges to fairway drivers to distance drivers. And maybe even I might mix a couple more in there, because I think there could be some videos that could go into 2. So that's going to be a really fun one where I'll cap it off after a month after I've built the bag, what actually is in the bag after a month, going into the season. So lots of cool stuff there. On top of that, we'll probably be filming. I know Erica Stinchcombe is coming into town. Thomas and Paige are here. We'll hopefully try and get a video with them while we can. Missy Gannon will be joining us in January. Tons of stuff will be happening via our channels, their channels, and just about anything. And we're going to keep doing Disc Golf Answer Man. So everybody who's here should be liking, commenting, and subscribing to whatever we're doing. Share it around. Let people know all the good things we're talking about. I probably missed something, but we have a lot going on, and I'm so thankful for this man right here, Mr. Bobby Brown. Let's go.
I'm so thankful for you. Yes, I get DMs all the time. People loving the interviews that we're doing on the Disc Golf Answer Man Show. If you haven't gone back to past episodes, we did some incredible interviews with Robbie C. Disc Golf. He's got an incredible tutorial channel for disc golf. And then let's see if I can say it right. John Berzerno. He started a company called oh gosh, now I feel like a jerk. Pacific Consulting. I have terrible memory, but yes, we did let's see, I'm gonna make sure I get it right. Make sure I got it right. I think that is. So anyway, he go listen to that episode where he talks about he consults with people. He had a lot of people reaching out asking for advice on building a disc golf community in their area, to designing a course, to marketing, promoting your course. So I reached out to him, had a great conversation with him. So go back and listen to that episode as well. Let's see. Yeah. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you to our Patreon supporters as well. I'm going to get, as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to get off, edit this together, and push it out for audio for our Patreons. Otherwise, you can catch it on Wednesday morning